Hey everyone, welcome to the Literary Lounge. I'm Paige.
And I'm Emily.
And today we are going to be telling you about our favorite romantasy books. This is going to be a spoiler-free book talk episode. So if you like romantasy, keep on listening. Today our drink is from Oliver's Morning, Noon, and Night. It's like a little restaurant and coffee shop located in Blaine. So we're supporting local today. I got a vanilla cappuccino. What'd you get,
I got a cold brew, and then I had them throw in a little hazelnut syrup and oat milk. It's pretty good. Cold brews or cold presses, those are always my go-tos for coffee. But yeah, I really like that restaurant in Blaine. They got really good food. They have good coffee beverages, fun cocktails. Like you said, they're morning, noon, and night, so they always got something.
Yeah. Nice.
For any time of the day. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is our first coffee shop that we're supporting local.
Yeah, we were like, we don't need to be like drinking alcohol all the time. Like we could, or me, not you.
Just kidding.
But I'm like, we both love coffee. Why would we not support a coffee shop,
True. Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm always down to have coffee. So our question of the week this week is, what's an unpopular opinion you have that other people are shocked by?
That's a tough question. My first thing that I think about is chick lit. I mean, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that I don't like chick lit. I feel like I usually don't like books that are kind of within that vein that like so many people like. Mm-hmm. But I'll just throw another one out there that maybe people don't know about me. I hate cheesecake.
Oh, you weirdo.
I think it's disgusting. Like, I don't know why people like it so much, but just the flavor of it. It's like, if I'm going to have a dessert, like, I want chocolate or something more like cake or whatever. Like, I just don't get, like, the cheesecake flavor and why, like, so many people opt for it for dessert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about
I love cheesecake. I don't know. This is a hard question. I wish I would have looked at this before.
Oops, sorry.
It's fine. I don't know. I guess just like branching off what you said about like chick lit, like I thought I would like chick lit books, but yeah, I just haven't found like one that I've liked at all.
Right.
Well, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So first we're going to kind of discuss like the romantasy books that we have read. So the first is the Plated Prisoner series. I'm actually on the fourth book right now, and I'm loving the series. How about you?
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's only fitting that we talk about this one because we're obviously that's the current romantasy series that we're going through on our podcast. Yeah, I'm loving it. I mean, I feel like it's so hard to find books that like live up to like the ACOTAR hype, and this was definitely a series that we both like heard about on TikTok and social media as like up there, and I fully agree that is true. It's definitely like satisfying that need for me.
Yeah, I like it. There's a good amount of spice in it now. But yeah, like she's very like comparable to this ACOTAR series for me. Like the writing style, I absolutely love. She's really good at like world building, and yeah, I've really enjoyed this series so far.
And we did talk about this on our episode for the first one, Guild, but the first book is definitely like a more of a world building, character development book. Mm-hmm. I would say like if you've never read a romantasy book, I don't know if like this would be the series to start with, because you kind of have to hang in there a little bit, and if you don't like that kind of setting from the get-go, like I don't know if like it would be the best one to like try and push through.
I feel like a lot of people like say that about this, but I really actually didn't have like that big of a issue with the first book. Like I liked it. Yeah. I thought like the world building was fine. Like I wasn't really like bored during it. I mean, obviously like 'cause I've read two of the other books, like I think the other two are better than it, but like I was reading the first one, like I really liked it still. But yeah, that is a popular opinion though. Like people say that like the first one definitely isn't as good as the others because like not too much happens, but you kind of need to read it in order to understand like the rest of it.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Yeah, great series. Like I said, I still stand by what I said, where if you haven't read these kind of books before, maybe this wouldn't be the series to start with. I feel like just to like dip your toes into this kind of book, obviously ACOTAR. Like, I mean, we have to talk about those books like in this episode, even though we talk about them literally every episode. But I definitely think that those are the ones to start with because they've just flipped so many people.
Yeah, I agree. They flipped me. I used to read like fantasy books when I was younger, but I never like really thought about like jumping into them like as an adult.
Right.
But yeah, ACOTAR definitely flipped me. I've like wanted to read like strictly fantasy now since I've read that one. So
yeah, I mean the first book is great. They're all great. The first one definitely has like good world building. There's like a romance where it kind of hooks you in. So like if you aren't super into the fantasy stuff, like you could still be rooting for kind of the romance that's there. And then the ending is just wild where like there's so many people that were like, I wasn't too sure like going into it if I'd like it, but then like you finish the first one and you're like I've said this before on the podcast, but my sister finished it and was like, give me the second one right now. Like it just leaves you on this like obsession.
Yeah, I've said in previous episodes, like I flew through those. I'm still on the last one. I haven't picked it back up yet, but I flew through those books like in a couple days. Like I was just constantly reading them. I didn't get much done.
Well, I'll chat quick on, I guess, like the other Sarah J. Maas books quick, which you haven't read yet, but you have the Crescent City series. I liked those ones just as much as ACOTAR. They're very thick. So like I think each one is like 700 pages, give or take.
Yeah.
They're similar in the sense, obviously same author. But they also have like, I love Sarah J. Maas like female main characters. So it's another like really quirky, fun, like female. But the Crescent City books take place in like a modern society, but they're like fae and like magical creatures. So it's like you're still getting fantasy world, but like modern vibes where like she, like the main character, Bryce, works in like an old like antique shop kind of. Like they have just like old artifacts and things. And then she goes to like dance classes in her spare time and she loves to go bar hopping. And her friends are like also kind of early 20s like age group. So it's kind of fun in that sense where like maybe too, if you're like trying to look for something to start with, like maybe those would be good ones too, because it's not so like wild of a fantasy world, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I really liked them too. They have like a mystery piece to them where like somebody gets murdered and she kind of finds herself in the middle of it all trying to figure out like who did it, why, etc. And then there's obviously like the romance piece. It's even a slower burn than like ACOTAR.
Really? Like I love slow burns, but at the same time, like I don't like when they like get too slow. Cause I'm like, come on,
I don't know.
get together.
It still
do
worked
like
for
slow
me.
burns, so yeah, I'm excited to read that series.
Yeah, those are good. And then so are the Throne of Glass, which was Sarah J. Maas's first series. They're good. There's 8 of them. I would say like start with ACOTAR and Crescent City, and then if you're still like just going through withdrawals from like SGM world, then read Throne of Glass. They're good. I wouldn't say they're quite as good as the other ones, but like if you're just on a roll, like you might as well just read them all.
They're YA, right?
They are YA.
Okay.
They are spicier than the next series we'll talk about, Bulk of the Year, but they are YA, I would say.
Okay.
Again, strong female character. She's a like got a kind of a background that you slowly learn about. There's a lot more to her than like what meets the eye. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything, but
series too.
It is. It's a commitment. So I've said this before, but I kind of like chipped away at it for a while. They're still good. They're not as great as like ACOTAR and Crescent City though.
Yeah. I'll have to get those ones too. It's probably going to take me a while to read them because I think they're pretty thick, right?
They just get bigger too.
Oh, great. All right. Well, the next series that we're going to talk about is Folk of the Air. If you've listened to our previous episodes, you'll know we have some pretty strong feelings on it. These books are really popular on like Book Talk, and there's like a lot of people like raving about it on YouTube and just on social media in general. I'd say it's more like YA. I think it might be actually categorized as YA.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Me and are like more into like the spice.
Yeah.
But I guess like the only issue, one of the issues I had with this series is the lack of world building. And we've talked about this like endlessly during these episodes. It's like the author would just like bring up all these like creatures and stuff and like not really have good descriptions on them. And like kind of she would just like bring it up and then not talk about it again. So there's like a lot of Googling that had to be done. We mentioned this again in previous episodes, but like for me, like it was so hard for me to picture the characters just because like the outfits, like the clothing that she like described was just so out there that I literally could not like picture it at all. But otherwise, like I think like the main storyline was fine. I felt like there was always something like happening, so like it kept your interest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's not one of my favorites.
Yeah, I didn't really like it either. Like I would echo exactly what you said. Like I don't think I had as big of enough of an imagination to like put a lot of stuff together. And because it was YA, it just wasn't really doing a whole lot for me. Some of the things that happened so quickly that I was just like, where did that come from? And like, why are these people like down with this? Like it just, I don't know. When we reviewed these books, we talked about the target audience, and like, quite frankly, I think that audience is like teenagers.
Yeah. Or I mean, if there's a lot of people that don't like spice in books too, and I think like if you are not one of those people who do like spice, then Folk of the Air is probably, and you want to dip into fantasy, then I would probably start with Folk of the Air. But yeah, it's probably more targeted towards teenagers,
right? I mean, the main characters too are younger, and it just felt very juvenile to me. I could see how like it would be great books for maybe a younger audience, or like you said, somebody that doesn't like spice, but like.
Yeah.
If you like spice, I would just move along. So what else? Well,
Blood and Ash.
So those are super spicy books. That series by Jennifer Armentrout. I powered through those like a few years ago when I was on like my ACOTAR kick, because they're like what I read after ACOTAR. They're definitely up there for me. She's still spitting them out. Like Jennifer Armentrout like cranks out books like, I want to say like it's her job. It is her job, literally.
Yeah.
But like she's so fast. Like she's got like the next Blood and Ash book comes out in July. And then she has a prequel also to the Blood and Ash series.
Oh wow.
It's called like the Flesh and Fire series. So it's like hundreds of years before.
Have you read those yet?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And those are also good. I mean, they all kind of tie together. I would read like the regular series first and then read the prequels, because otherwise you don't really get the significance of the people in the prequels. Yeah. But she has like the third book in that prequel series coming out in like November. And then she also has like another series she's starting that comes out in September, which we'll get into like books we're excited about later. But she's wild. Like, and they're good too. It's not like she's just like releasing crap. But like I said, they're super spicy. It starts with kind of like the main character is like tricked, I guess, by the man, like the main character, where he's not really like who he says he is. And so then they kind of have like that enemies to lovers situation going on. And I don't know, it's like kind of a slow burn, but once the burn happens, there's a lot of burn, a lot of spice, a lot of like crazy things happening, like romance wise, and it's just like constant.
Descriptive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yep. They're great though. I mean, and they got the whole fantasy kind of medieval vibe going on. They're good.
Nice. Yeah, I have those on my shelf. My TBR list is so freaking long.
Yeah, those are big books, and I don't know if it's just because I was obsessed, but I felt like I went through them really fast. Like much like Plated Prisoner, I feel like they go quick.
Yeah.
For how big they are.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I'd be able to whip through them, but it's just the fact of like grabbing them off the shelf and starting it.
Yeah.
There's so many books that like I want to read. So
yeah,
like the fact of like deciding and.
Yeah, another good series, I've mentioned it before, I think in an earlier book talk, but the Rhapsodic series by Laura Thalassa. So those are good too. I wouldn't probably rank them as high as I would the earlier ones that we've talked about. They're fantasy because the main character, well, she lives in like Los Angeles, but she's a siren. And then she has like this encounter with this man that calls himself the bargainer. So he like makes deals with people and like holds them to it. But he lives in this like fantasy other realm. And they like kind of have like a friendship when she's like in college, and then something happens and you don't really find out about it until like throughout the books, like why they had this kind of breakup, but then they like rekindle and kind of you learn about their past like as they're moving forward, but like they're pretty good.
So she's a siren. So like she gets legs when she's like out of the water or what?
Well, she's not like, she's like a land siren. I don't know.
What?
But she like likes the ocean. Like she lives by the ocean.
Isn't a siren like a mermaid?
Yeah, they like, I guess like the traditional siren is they like sing men to their death in the water.
Okay. I always thought it was like, I guess like from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like the sirens are like the mermaids that are like in the water.
Yeah,
that,
she's
like sing to them.
It's like slightly different, but I think there's still like a water piece to
Does she kill people then?
Well, like she like lives in Los Angeles and she has like kind of she's like a private investigator. So she doesn't really do anything like siren-y.
Oh, okay.
But she has
Weird.
like powers that you like
okay.
find out about, or that she finds out about, I guess. But
interesting.
Anyway,
I don't know if I'm gonna add that to my TBR.
It's good, but like there's other ones that I'd be like Blood and Ash, like read those before.
Yeah, I'd be like interested in reading like a mermaid like fantasy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yep.
Weird.
And then another series that I read like a year ago was, so the first book is A Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker, and she's actually like a romance writer. I don't know if they're chick lit. I haven't read any of her other books, but that's like the feeling that I get a little bit from those. But so she dabbled in fantasy with this series, and that was decent. I would put it at the very bottom of all these ones we're talking about, though. I didn't love it, I guess. It's about like the female character finds out that she has like I don't know if it's like a doppelganger, but she has like a twin almost that lives in this other realm that like commits a crime in this like fantasy world. And then she gets sucked in and everybody thinks that she's this other woman, then she's not, and she's like in trouble and she doesn't understand why, and it's this whole thing. But anyway, there's romance in that one too, obviously, because there's like the king and or he's the prince, and
I haven't heard of that series before.
It was like okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, there's other ones I would say read before you read that one. But
all right, well, let's jump into Romantasy that we want to read. So the first one is like probably the most popular one right now. It's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's about dragons. I'm really excited to read it. I guess like I don't know much about it, but I just know like people are raving about that.
Yeah,
book.
like you go on TikTok if you're just like in book talk world, like I keep seeing it everywhere. Like everybody's freaking out about it. Like I feel like it's the next ACOTAR.
Yeah.
And so like we've talked about it, like we have to read it. Like we kind of have like the next couple months figured out for like our podcast, but like this definitely has to like be a fall book.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You will hear us talk about this book sometime this fall. So.
Yeah, we have to know like what is the hype. And then like the second one comes out in November too, which is like right around you're about to give birth.
Yeah, so that's kind of up in the air. We're gonna see if we'll have time to like read it and record an episode before I'm due. If not, then it will be the following year in 2024. We'll talk about that. So.
Yeah, we'll get into it
eventually.
ASAP.
Yeah.
I mentioned this, but like I said, Jennifer Armentrout has like a new series coming out in September. I honestly don't know a lot about it either, but it kind of has like a similar feeling to like Blood and Ash, where there's probably like gods and like higher beings, but then there's also like monsters, and so it sounds like there's going to be a lot of like great world building again. Maybe some like romance and conflict between like royals or a female character that finds herself in the midst of royals. But I definitely want to read it. I mean, I've loved the other books that I've read by her, so I don't see a reason why I wouldn't be interested in this one too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. The next series that I want to dive into is The Crowns of Nyaxia or Nyaxias. And that is by Carissa Broadbent. The first one is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. It's about like vampires and humans. So I used to like love Twilight when I was younger. So I'm kind of excited to read like a more adult version of it. So like obviously we haven't read these yet, so I don't know much about it, but I think I might have seen it on TikTok. I have it on my TBR on Goodreads, so I don't know where I found it, but yeah, I'm gonna have to dive into that.
Yeah, that one sounds good.
Yeah, and then one that I did find on TikTok is Forsaken Thrones by LL Styles. This is an indie author. She might only sell on Amazon. That's where I got it. But it's like about queens and like elves, witches, and fae. So it kind of has like a little bit of everything. Yeah. So I'm excited to start that one. I'm excited to read about like just a small indie author. Yeah. I think it's her debut book. So this is a 2-part series. I don't know what the second one's called, but Forsaken Thrones is the first one.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'll have to talk about that at the end of an episode sometime or post my thoughts about it, give her a shout out.
Yeah, it's fun like reading a debut novel just because you go into it not really knowing what to expect. And then it's like really fun hyping like a young new author, or not even young, but like somebody that's just kind of getting their feet wet. Yeah, I think it's fun too to like go on TikTok and find these authors because I think that's like how she has like advertised this book. So yeah, I'm excited. Cool. The other one that I want to read is the Broken Bonds series by Jay Bree. So I was like honestly trying to figure out what the heck it's about. It sounds really good, but I keep hearing that it's very adult, maybe like trigger warnings in this book that would be probably worth looking up if you're like interested in it. But it gets called like a reverse harem book like multiple times, which is like, from what I understand, like a harem is like when there's like one guy and like multiple females, like multiple female love interests. And so reverse harem is like the other way around, where it's like a female main character with like, I don't know if it's like a love triangle or what's going on with that. I'm like, is it an orgy? I have no idea. I'm very intrigued because I saw it on like TikTok for like a few different like videos where people were like, oh, these are the romantasy books I can't stop thinking about. And so I'm just like really intrigued, to be honest. I think I've seen that one on TikTok. Have you? Yeah. Yeah, it's probably like really fucked up, and I'm out here just being like, yeah, I can't wait. Okay, I like those books though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, true. But don't know a lot about it. I just know that I need to find out. Yeah, don't take our word for it yet. Yeah, we haven't read it. These books, we have no idea if they're good. We're just like, these are the ones we keep seeing things on. But yeah. Anyway. So many exciting things as a reader. So, yeah, like my TBR list is like huge. 100 deep right now. It just gets worse, honestly. Yeah. Like, I can't keep up, but it's a good problem to have. So. Yeah, definitely. Well, hopefully we can get through some of these and then we can let you guys know what we think. But if you've read these books, then let us know what you think. We want to know if like these are any good. If they're straight messed up, like that's fine too. We shouldn't even bother. Yeah, just let us know. And if you liked any of the books that we've liked, we'd love to chat with you guys about it on social media, on our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram, TikTok as the Literary Lounge MN. We'll be promoting our coffee drinks from the local restaurant Oliver's. And just to note, next week is 4th of July week. It's a holiday week. We've decided to take the week off. We're both going to be up at our cabins, very Minnesota of us. So we won't be releasing an episode. The week after, we will be reviewing The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. It's a thriller. We're super excited to get into it. I feel like we're due for a thriller.
Yeah.
It's going to be good, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for that one. I think that I got that one on what's it called? Book of the Month.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was
Cool.
a Book of the Month book.
I have the audiobook teed up. Myself and Nicholas will be listening to it on the way to the cabin. So cool.
He's gonna like that.
Yeah. I didn't really give him a choice. I'm like, we're going to be reading this book, okay?
Yeah. That's funny.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thank you. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.